I think we're good now. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. This is United versus Everybody. I am your host, Sean, and today we're just stopping by with a unique video, a fun video, a special video, an exciting video. Kind of embodies the topic of the video itself. And obviously, today we're here to talk about Alejandro Garnacho and why this year will be his year. This will be the year of Alejandro Garnacho. I've had this video in the chamber for a minute. Seemed like a good time to fire it off. We have a player on our hands who does have the potential to be truly great. I'm not going to jump the gun and call him world class. I'm not even going to call him potentially world class. We're going to say he's got potential to be a really, really, really excellent player, not only for us, but just in European football in general. He scores, he creates, he can make an impact off the bench, and he's only just turned 20 years old. And yes, it's Alejandro Garnacho. Today, I'm going to show you why 24-25 will be the year of Garnacho. So like the video, subscribe, let's get stuck in. So a bit of history. It wasn't that long ago that we signed Garnacho from Atletico Madrid's academy, but he did play an integral part just in his early days in our academy's success. He played a vital role in helping the under-18s win the FA Youth Cup in that 21-22 season, which was one of the rare bright spots of that season, if you remember. He scored 2 goals in the final to lift that cup. He had, even at a young age, he had pace. He had a very direct style of play. It caught a lot of people off guard, but it caught a lot of people's attention, including Eric Tenhag. He was so good that he was pretty much fast-tracked into the first team picture that following season. And he was already spending some time in and around the first team squad. It doesn't take long for you to watch Garnacho to see what he's all about. He's got explosive pace, excellent dribbling. He's got the ability to take on defenders in one-on-one situations as well. And he's got that confidence, right? What I've always liked about him is that he doesn't give up on plays. He follows through when maybe other players, even more experienced players, might give up on a play, might just kind of let it run out of play and let a ball go out for a goal kick or out of touch or whatever you want to call it. Garnacho doesn't tend to give up on those things, just even when the opportunity seems like it's lost. This has seen him score a few goals. The FA Cup final springs to mind, that long ball over the top. A lot of players might have given up on that, might have been like, I didn't get the first touch, it wasn't 100% right, so I'm going to give up on it. Garnacho kept following that, and as a result, he was able to capitalize on that miscommunication between Ortega and Guardiola, and was able to follow through on that, and he got that opening goal as a result. And that's the kind of thing we've seen from Garnacho time and time again. As a young player, he also possesses that precociousness that, when he's on the attack, he isn't afraid of much. It kind of reminds me of like a child who's just running around climbing trees, walking around like in the woods or whatever, people used to do. I used to do when I was young, look outside and you see me way at the top of a tree, just climbing, just zero regard for my own safety, my own mortality, zero regard for the danger, just no risk. And I like that from Garnacho. We've seen that from him time and time again. He just does this crazy shit. He doesn't realize that maybe he's up against good defenders or something. He doesn't care. He's going to try what he's going to try, and I like that about him. I hope that he maintains that little characteristic throughout his development. Because imagine what he's going to be like in another year or two when he develops physically, when he gets a little bigger, when he spends some more time just growing, and he has that combined with just the attitude and the skill. Like, he's going to be a monster. But let's take a look at some of Garnacho's numbers over the last few years, as well as what his current season is starting out like, to get a little bit better understanding of what we're looking at. So let me jump over here. Give me a second. Computer is doing madness today. All right. So what we're looking at here are his percentile ranks for this season and then last season, or the 2022-2023. So the last year and then the year before that. So you're going to see some consistencies. You're going to see some things take a dip. You're going to see some things improve. Where the consistencies you're going to see, he's got good interceptions, progressive carries, and he's got touches in the attacking area, progressive passes received. Those non-penalty expected goals and expected assists, and then obviously the shots and everything, like very, very, very much improved. So in his debut season, a lot of things are high, but you're going to remember, some differences that we're going to show you as well in terms of just context. So remember, we talked about context is key. So you're going to say, okay, well, why did some of his metrics drop down? But at the same time, some of them improved as well. So his progressive carries actually jumped up by almost an entire progressive carry per 90 that last season. Some of his touches dropped down. Some of his progressive passes received dropped down, but he's been consistent in all of these metrics. And not only has he been consistent, even when you say, okay, they drop down, even if they drop down, anything 50 or above is above average, basically. 50 is average, anything. And when you're in the top 2%, like touches in the attacking area, progressive carries, top 5%, 2 years in a row, it's hard to complain about that. And look at those interceptions for a winger as well. This is what we like to see. Player who's getting involved, who's haranguing the opposition when they have the ball, who's able to intercept the passes as well. And if you look even more so last year, so if you look at some of these progressive carries and get a little deeper, look at the distance total and distance progressive. They're still in the 80 percentiles. His carries into the final third, top 25%, and his carries all the way into the penalty area are in the top 5% as well. The guy gets the ball in good areas. He's constantly open on the wing. He gets the balls in good areas, and he's taking it into the dangerous areas to create opportunities. So, and then when you look back at, the shot creating actions and things, like it's constantly above average. So he's doing a very good job. So what about comparing these two seasons from him kind of in a different way? So the last year is in the blue, 2022, 2023. That's in the red. Now, what are the main differences? And I helped you out a little bit over here. So between the 2 years, the defensive output improved. Some of the offensive output I guess you could call it regressed to the mean. Now we look at it and we say it dipped. What that means is it's regressed to the mean. It's kind of becoming more stable in what it's meant to be. We have those kind of seasons. The difference being last season too, we didn't have the fit left back. Garnacho played a lot on the left. He played a lot on the right, but he played predominantly on the left-hand side. And when you don't have a fit left back, you're not able to establish that kind of partnership. Obviously, your attacking output's going to decrease. We saw the same thing from Marcus Rashford as well. We didn't play as much counterattack last year as we did in Ten Hag's first season. We weren't relying on so much on Garnacho's pace. We were relying more on his ability to get the ball and carry it, not necessarily his ability to run onto a long ball played into space. So you're going to see some differences there in terms of those numbers. Plus, last season, we went from relying on guys like Rashford and Garnacho to score the goals to we brought in a striker last season as well. And so what that did is it took some of the onus off of the wingers like Garnacho and Rashford and tried to balance that out. We were forcing them to try to create a little more for Højlund. And it was frustrating. Remember, there were some growing pains in that regard. Højlund was famously frustrated oftentimes with Rashford, Garnacho, Antony for not finding him. It was the wingers, because they're still young, introducing a striker like that who's meant to be the focal point, someone you're meant to be creating for, will throw them off a little bit. And so you saw a lot of times these wingers were getting caught in two minds. Do I create? Do I shoot? What do I do? And oftentimes it was the wrong option, which is going to happen when you're young. But as you can see, again, similar to Marcus Rashford's number shift, there's a lot of outlying contextual factors at play here. Again, the no left back situation made it difficult. You see a lot of those numbers, those defensive numbers improved as a result. We rely less on the counterattack, and then we brought that striker in Rashford. So going back to 2022, 2023, Garnacho was still being integrated into the first team. He started just 19 league matches that season, but he did feature in the Europa League, the FA Cup, and the Carabao Cup that season as well. He basically featured in 34 matches across all competitions, which is quite a bit for a young teenager in their first season. He scored 5, provided 4 assists in all comps that season, which is great. It's a great debut season for a teenager in the Premier League, if you want to be honest about it. And then last season, we saw a lot more of him. He featured in 50 more matches. 50 matches, so 16 more matches than he did the year before. Again, crazy numbers for a teenager. A teenager in the Premier League playing in 50 matches across all competitions in just their second season. That's insane. He jumped from 5 starts in 2022, 2023 to 30 starts last season. And all in all, he scored 10 goals, provided 5 assists in all competitions. So huge increase. The numbers shot up. It showed that the more he plays, the more he's going to contribute. By comparison, if you want to look at like Cristiano Ronaldo's debut, his first season, Cristiano Ronaldo only had 6 goals and 5 assists in his first season. So Garnacho is outperforming his idol by quite a bit. And he's breaking all sorts of records along the way as well. So in the Community Shield this season, he came on and scored, and he, in doing so, became the youngest player to score in the Community Shield since Cesc Fabregas back in 2005. Last season, Garnacho became the youngest player to score in the FA Cup final since Cristiano Ronaldo did in 2004. So literally 20 years. These are 20-year-old records that the kid is breaking already in his second season in the league. Moving forward to last season, he also put on a clinic when it came to carries that lead to a goal-scoring opportunity. So this is coming from Opta. Garnacho was the most successful carrier in the Premier League when it came to end product that he delivers. Last season, 46% of his carries ended in a shot, thereby making him the top player in that specific metric. This shows just how good he is when it comes to retaining the ball, not being dispossessed. In that regard, he outperformed Kevin De Bruyne. He outperformed Mo Salah in terms of keeping the ball and carrying it himself. He was also the Premier League's top player when it came to total chance creating carries at 69%. And that includes shots, key passes, and eventual goals and assists. So he's quietly outperforming a lot of these world-class players. He's quietly outperforming players that he idolized, players that some of us consider United legends at similar ages. And he's quietly breaking records that have been around for 20 years now. And this is why I think that he is on the cusp of having just an explosive breakout season here. This season is barely underway, and Garnacho already has 4 goals and 3 assists in just 5 matches in all competitions, which is insane. He's only started 2 of these matches too. And what he's consistently shown is that he can come off the bench and make an impact as well. I don't like putting super sub labels on people just because they have a knack for coming off the bench and scoring, but there's definitely something to be said for a player who can do that. Tenhag has said as much recently. I said the other day that it's not about dropping a player because they're not doing well or something. It's also about looking at when you have to make subs, who has the potential to make a bigger impact as a substitute coming off the bench. And sometimes that can be the deciding factor. Garnacho has shown that he does make a big impact in doing that. And I also see this as Manchester United balancing his development, kind of tempering that a little bit, and his involvement. He is so young still. And I think this is why we also need to get a midfielder who rotates with Kobbie Mainoo, which is why it's good to see Mainoo getting a rest recently as well. It's really, really fortunate that Christian Eriksen has been playing so well these last couple of games, because we don't want to burn out players like Mainoo. We don't want to burn out Garnacho so early when they're so young. But 2 starts, and he's already had more goal involvements this season than Kylian Mbappe, Vinicius Jr., Mo Salah, Bukayo Saka, Lamine Yamal, Ousmane Dembele, Rafael Leao, and Cole Palmer. And that's coming from Statman Dave. So in just 2 starts in all comps this season, he's already outperforming some of the best attackers in the European football. He's already got more goals in 4 days than Jadon Sancho has in all of 2024 as well. But who's counting? You won't hear that in the media as well. He opened his account this season way earlier than he has ever since he made his first team debut. He started off with that goal in the Community Shield, and then got an assist just 6 days later against Fulham when he came on and he found Joshua Zirkzee for that late goal, for that late winner to help Zirkzee get his debut. But then since then, he's had 3 goals, 2 assists in our last 2 matches since the international break as well. So 5 goal involvements in 2 matches is insane. Again, like I said, he's getting involved. He's already started this season in getting involved in the goals way earlier than he ever has. People will remember his bicycle kick against Everton in late November. But what people forget about that goal, even when it came in late November, that was his first goal of the season last season. And so he's getting started way earlier than we've ever seen, which I really, really like. It could be that being on the bench has helped him get hungry. Maybe he's being on the bench coming on against tired legs is what suits him very well right now. Who knows? But he's still young. He can rotate. I think he'll learn to be a little less selfish in the final third, and he'll start to get his head up a little bit more. But we've already seen that has improved as he's got just right now. He's just already two fewer assists this season than he had all of last season. So he's on deck to have his best goal contribution, his best assist providing season so far. We've already seen it. We can even just look at the eye test, not the stats. You can see he's already trying to find his teammates more often. We saw that in the match yesterday. He hit that Trivela from the outside of his foot to try to find Rashford. He's trying to find his teammates more and more, which is what we want from a winger as well. It's great that he wants to get in and score. It's great that he's hungry, but we also want to see him use a bit of discernment and judgment in that final phase of attack to know when the ball to a teammate is the better option than trying to just take the shot. And he'll learn that. He's still so young, guys. But we are seeing signs of progression, signs of development and positivity, and I like that. It's going in an upward trend. What I'd want more is a bit more development off the pitch in terms of some of his judgment and decision making. He has had some disciplinary issues in the past, and his social media activity has been, I guess, ill-advised, we could call it. So early on in his United career, that in Tenhag's very first preseason at the club, Garnacho had some disciplinary issues and he faced some consequences for it. He turned up late to several team meetings that summer and missed a lot of the preseason as a result. He wasn't involved, and that's not a good first impression to make on your new manager. Bruno even came out and spoke about it that summer as well, saying, it wasn't good enough, but he's learning and he'll bounce back, and we support that. On social media, we've also seen Garnacho engage in some ill-advised behavior. Like I said, he liked a couple social media posts in the past that questioned Ten Hag's decisions to sub him off during a given match. That put him in some hot water, of course, and the matter was dealt with internally. No one ever said if it was disciplinary or what, but it was dealt with, is what we were told. And then recently, he also liked the post by Fabrizio Romano that included a very lengthy quote from a recent interview Cristiano Ronaldo gave with Rio Ferdinand. But in that interview, Cristiano Ronaldo criticized a lot of various things about United, coach, all this stuff. But Garnacho liked this. And so a lot of people kind of blew that up and decided to take the one part about Ten Hag and say that's what he liked, when there was a lot of different topics in that post. So I would say there were several points. You can't really say that Garnacho reacted and liked one specific thing in that post or the other. But again, the issue there is the poor judgment on his part to engage with posts like that. Given what we know about Cristiano Ronaldo and Ten Hag and that whole situation, I don't care if he's a big Cristiano Ronaldo fanboy. We need him to show some better judgment. He's young, and so will hopefully learn. But I think when it comes to social media, Garnacho really needs to start taking a moment to think about his activity before he posts or before he likes posts, because it's only going to hurt him. Not only will it hurt his relationship with managers and potentially teammates, it will hurt his United career. And overall, it could really hurt his career professionally as well if he's starting to be seen as a young, kind of irrational player who makes these kind of unwise decisions socially. Some clubs aren't going to like that. So I like to see him improve in that regard. But in any case, Garnacho has been such a bright spark in this United side over the last few seasons, exactly what we've needed, and rightfully so. He's everything that we as fans love about this club. He's young, he's an exciting attacking player, he brings goals, he brings the assists, he's not afraid to take people on, he's got that precociousness, that energy, that hunger. What's not to love, right? He's been compared to a young Cristiano Ronaldo. He's been compared to George Best. He's still raw, and he has loads more development ahead of him on and off the pitch, like we pointed out. But we need to balance his minutes, make sure we can take care of him in that regard, right? But one thing's for sure, that after a very, very promising and very, very progressive first two seasons, and after such an explosive start to this season, that's already seen him on track to be his best season ever, Garnacho is poised to have his breakout absolute best season yet in the United shirt. That's why I think 2024, 2025 will be his year. And I think that we all should get on board. We should all enjoy it. I think he wants that number 7 shirt. And if Mason Mount can't stay fit, or if it doesn't work out for him at this club, I wouldn't be surprised to see that shirt change hands in the summer. But we will see what happens. That's why I think 24, 25 is going to be the year of Alejandro Garnacho. Thank you for watching. like the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new and you love this type of content. I love making it. And as always, don't forget, Viva Garnacho. Take it easy.